Welcome back to math. Today, for math class, you will need lesson worksheet 68. And then when we are done with that, we are going to get right into our guided class practice. So you will also want to make sure that you have that sheet out as well. You will also today need a pencil. So go ahead and make sure you have this sheet and a pencil. And as you know, the first thing we do every day is put our name on our paper. Now, make sure you don't put my name. Make sure you put your name on the paper. Okay? Now, we have been adding 2-digit numbers. And today, we're going to learn how to add 3 2-digit numbers. We're going to pretend that you are the owner of a store that sells school supplies. And we're going to pretend that I'm the customer. I'm going to go to the store and buy things, and you are going to tell me how much money I owe. And if we could figure it out, then I would have to pay you that money. But our pretend store has a policy that I get to keep the items that are free. Keep the items free if you tell me the incorrect amount. Now, if we were in class, this would be super fun. We could trade back and forth with crayons and colored pencils and markers and things like that. But you still are the owner of the store, and I'm still the one who's going to buy it, and you still have to figure out these amounts, so we need to work through this together. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to first go ahead and practice some 2-digit numbers, just as a review. All right, so here we go. Let's do 47 cents. And we'll say that the crayons are 47 cents. And we'll say that an eraser is 26 cents. So crayons are 47 and an eraser is 26. And we need to add up these amounts. As you remember, we always start with the pennies. 7 plus 6. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 is more than 10. So I'm going to trade a dime, and I'm left with 3 pennies. You can see I still have 13 here. Okay, now we need to add up our dimes. 4 plus 2 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. And so my total would be 73 cents. Okay, let's do this next one. Let's do a notebook. And let's say the notebook is worth 55 cents. And let's say we also have a pencil. And the pencil is 15 cents. And now I need to add those two up. You do not need to write notebook and pencil. Just write down 55 and 15. And let's add. Starting over here, 5 plus 5 is 10. Since I have 10 or more, I can trade the pennies away for a dime. But I don't have any pennies left. Remember that my number was 10. Okay, so we carried our 1. 5 plus 1 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So my total for those two items would be 70 cents. And I needed to buy a dry erase marker. And they decided that they were going to charge me 25 cents for the dry erase marker. And I also needed that box of crayons. And the crayons we said were 47 cents. So now we need to add it all up. Start over here. 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 is more than 10. I have a group of 10 and 2 pennies that were left over. 2 plus 4 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. 72 cents. Now, here's the kicker. We are going to practice what it looks like when I have 3 two-digit numbers. So, I'm going to have my dry erase marker. That's 25 cents. We're going to keep it going straight across. Okay, remember that you're not writing them going down. You write them straight across. We are going to have our pencil. That's 15 cents. And crayons, 47 cents. Okay, now we need to go ahead and we need to add it up. So, remember that we first want to see if I have any groups of 10. Do I? Yes, I do. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 and 7 more. 10 plus 7 is 17. I traded 10 pennies for a dime, and I have 7 pennies left over. Now that I've done my penny spot, I can go to my dime spot. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. So the total for those 3 items would be 87 cents. All right, let's do this one. We need an eraser. We need the dry erase marker. And we need a pencil. Go ahead and add it up. Okay, let's check where we're at. If you didn't finish, that's okay. Let's check where we're at. First, I'm going to look for a group of 10. Remember that I have to start in the penny spot. And I see 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 6, 16. 16 is more than 10, so I can trade 10 pennies for a dime. And I put the 6 down below the 1 spot. Now I can add my dimes second. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And 5 plus 1 is 6. So that cost us 66 cents. Now I needed a mini eraser. That's 14 cents for a mini eraser. I needed some paper, and they were going to charge me 28 cents for paper. And for 36 cents, I could buy myself a pen. I need to add it up. Remember to start over here. Find a group of 10. Go ahead. All right, let's check to see what our work looks like. I found a group of 10. Hopefully you did too. 4 plus 6 is 10, and I'm left with 8. 10 plus 8, or 8 plus 10, is 18. 18 is more than 10, isn't it? So I can take 10 pennies and trade it for 1 dime, and I'm left with 8 pennies. And now I need to add my dime spot. 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 1, 7. So hopefully you had 78 cents. All right, first grade. Thanks for working really hard with me during the lesson part of our sheet. I do want to see this, so please make sure that this gets put back into your Wednesday folder. Okay, I want to see that you were working hard with me today. Go ahead and move on to your guided class practice. So, in the guided class practice, you need your name on your paper. And the date is January 6th, 2021. All right. You have your name, January 6th, 2021, and we're going to get started. Today we are going to need to color in our graph, so let's make sure that we are following along right away. Here we go. 4 children voted for apple A. 7 children voted for apple C. And 3 children voted for apple B. Color the graph to show how many children voted for each apple and how many children voted altogether. Well, first, let's go ahead and fill in our graph. It said 4 children voted for apple A. So here's apple A, and I need to color in 4 rectangles. And I need to start at the bottom, and I work my way up to 4. I am not going to scribble scrabble because I need to stay in part A. Okay? So you should have had 4 for A. It says 7 children voted for apple C. So now I need to go ahead and do 7. Color in 7. 1. You might choose to just go up until you get to 7 and color them in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you want, you can just go ahead and get the 7, outline it, and then shade it in that way. That's okay too. Okay, and apple B says 3 children voted for them. 1, 2, 3. Remember that when we fill in graphs, we start at the bottom and we work our way up. We don't start at the top and work down. Start at the bottom and we work our way up. Okay, now it says, how many children voted all together? Remember, we talked about that big word all together on Monday. All together means I'm going to add up the amounts. So we had 4, 3, and 7. I need to write that down. 4 plus 3 plus 7 equals. Now you're saying, Mrs. Friedrichs, you didn't write 4 children plus 3 children plus 7 children. No, I didn't. When I start to get numbers like this, I'm just going to put it with my answer. Okay, so 4 plus 3 plus 7. I already know that 3 plus 7 is 10, and 10 plus 4. Or I can say 4 plus 3 is 7, and 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 children. So then on my answer line, I'm going to write 14 children. Okay, we're going to move to number 2. If you're not quite ready to move along with us, please make sure you pause the video. And when you're done, you push play again and move right along with us. Number 2, it says write these numbers in order from least to greatest. So least means my smallest number. Greatest means my largest number. 49, 25, 63, 28, 42. Well, I heard the number 63, and I didn't hear anything bigger than that. So I'm going to actually put that in my largest spot because I knew that was my biggest number. And 49, 25, 28, 42, it looks like the number 25 is actually the smallest. So now you know where you're starting and you know where you're going to end. I like to always just put an X through my number when I'm done with it. Now, after 25, is it going to be 49, 28, or 42? Well, you see, I still have another number in the 20s, don't I? So I need to write 28 next. And now that leaves me with two numbers, 49 and 42. So since they both start with 4, just like alphabetical order, we need to look at our one spot. Which number is smaller, 9 or 2? Which one is smaller? Well, 2 is smaller. So that means 42 is smaller than 49. Okay? Nice. Let's move to number 3. We're going to use the graph to answer the questions. Today, if we look at our graph, it's fruits we like. We have grapes, apples, grapes, and apples. So, it says how many children like apples? Did it say how many children like only apples? No, it just said how many kids like apples. So I can add up these names here and the ones in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 children like apples. Now it says, how many children like only grapes? Remember, since you heard only, that means I need to look at this section over here. It cannot include the middle. How many kids like only grapes? Just one, Pete. How many children like both grapes and apples? Since it was both, you know both is your middle section here, right? Since it's both, I need to look at these names here. How many children like both grapes and apples? 1, 2, Rose and Bob. Now it says, what does Rose like? Here's Rose, here's Rose. What does Rose like? She likes both. So I have to say grapes and apples. Grapes and apples. All right, now Cheryl has a dozen apples and a half dozen oranges. Draw the fruit. Okay, we learned yesterday about dozen and half dozen. We know that a dozen is 12 and a half dozen is 6. Okay, so if Cheryl has a dozen apples, that means that I am going to draw 12 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now you didn't need to put stems on there, but if you wanted to color, draw them and then color them in, you definitely could do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I did the dozen apples. Now I need to do a half a dozen oranges. Now I know oranges are usually orange, and if I had my orange pen with me, I would definitely do that. But I'm going to actually use this one. So a half dozen we said is 6. And I'm just going to write an O in there. If you want to take your crayon colored pencil, your orange one, and either a red or green one here for the apples, you definitely are welcome to color them in, but don't feel like you have to. One of my children really thought that I needed to show that this was an orange. There. Is that better? Gee, I think so. All right.
That's quiet, Gia.
All right, friends. It's 3:30 in the morning. 3:30, and you heard in the morning. Write the digital time. 3:30. Well, you know that 3 is your hour, and it's 3:30. Remember that if it's 3:30, that means 30 minutes after the hour. So it's 3:30. And it's 3:30 what? In the morning. If it's after midnight and after, morning, I have to say that it's a.m. If it's noon, 12 o'clock noon, all the way to 11:59 at night when it's dark, then it would be p.m. But morning is a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade in that little bubble by a.m. And now we get to practice what we learned in our lesson today. Today you'll remember that we were looking at 3-digit numbers, adding up 2-digit numbers, adding up 3 of them. So let's go ahead and add them up. Let me use this paper. Please remember that we need to start with our pennies. So I'm noticing that I don't have, I do have a group of 10. 2 plus 8 is 10. Now, 10 plus 6. 10 plus 6 is 16. You'll remember that if I have 16, I actually have a group of 10. So the 1's going to go here, since I have 10 ones that I can have. And then my 6 is going to go at the bottom here, because that's what's left over. Now I need to add up my dimes. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7, and 7 plus 1 is 8. So we have 86 cents. Okay, now we have one more to do. Start with our pennies. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 1 more makes 11. If I have 11, that means I have 10 pennies I can trade for a dime, and I'm left with 1. Now, let's go ahead and add up those dimes. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. And so now your answer for that one is 71 cents. So, things to remember. Always start here on the far right with your pennies, or your ones if you're not dealing with money. Always start there. If you have 10 or more, remember that you want to trade those pennies for a dime. That's why you have this here. We traded it. And then whatever you're left with, like this was 11, I took 10 away. I was left with 1 penny. That's what goes here. And you should always still be able to see your answer to that addition problem that you have made right here. Okay? Now that we have done the front side, the back side is yours. Everything should look very similar to what we did on the front side. But please make sure, they like to trick you. They don't want to go right in order. So you need to make sure that you are paying very close attention with your numbers. So 6 children voted for D. 3 children voted for E. 4 children, they didn't try to trick you here, voted for F. You shade them in starting at the bottom and working your way up. Okay, 4:30 in the afternoon. Write the digital time. You heard afternoon. Half a dozen peaches and a dozen bananas. You can draw those out as well. Make sure that you also are paying attention to the wording in number 3. When you are done with the back side, making sure your name and your date are on this paper, making sure that you say that it's 2021. Then you're going to go ahead and put this in your Tuesday folder. Thanks for working hard today, first grade. We'll see you tomorrow.